All right, today we're going to talk about Arman Tsarukyan, a man that will be going up against Islam Makhachev for the UFC Lightweight Championship of the World next weekend in Los Angeles at the Intuit Dome, a $2 billion arena. The Lightweight Championship of the World, right? One of the most prestigious titles in all of combat sports. Of course, the lightweight division is probably the toughest division to become the champion in. And Arman Tsarukyan, as good as he is saying that he's not fully invested in the sport of mixed martial arts. And we're going to find out whether or not a man that isn't fully invested can go on to become the champion of the world. So today's video, we're going to talk about that. Because what is he saying? Does he really believe that? Or is he starting to make excuses? Is he setting himself a little insurance policy for what the future might hold? And that future might be Islam Makhachev going on to become the greatest lightweight fighter of all time. And that would be a fact according to the numbers. Of course, Islam Makhachev has defended the belt 3 times. So did Khabib Nurmagomedov. So did BJ Penn. So did Benson Henderson. 3 title defenses. That is the max. If Islam goes out there and beats Arman Tsarukyan, which Arman might think he will, just judging by what he said on his YouTube video, that will be 4 defenses, and he will be the greatest lightweight on planet Earth in the history of the sport. So what am I talking about? So on a YouTube video that he did, and it is a beautiful video, by the way, that he did, high production levels for sure. It shows him in his training camp for Islam Makhachev. And it's a great video. It's very, very well shot, but there was some telling stuff. His friend said to him, you told us yourself that you aren't 100% invested in MMA. And there's a lot of guys out there that work harder than you, and yet you are one step away from becoming the best lightweight on the planet. Have you ever asked yourself, what if I was 100% invested in MMA? And Arman's response was, well, now we will see. The title fight will show if a man who is not 100% invested in the business can still make it. And that's a crazy statement. To be 1 week out from fighting Islam Makhachev, from realizing your dream to become the champion of the world. And let's remember, he made his debut against Islam Makhachev almost 6 years ago, okay? He took it on short notice, just a few weeks. He went up against Islam. He gave a good account of himself. He certainly pushed Islam. He made him work, but eventually throughout the fight, he started to slow down. He took the fight on short notice, and that has haunted him ever since. All he has talked about is getting a rematch with Islam Makhachev.
Oh, guys, I got improved, and now next fight is going to be a different one. I'm going to knock him out. That's it.
And now, not only does he get a rematch, he gets a chance to become the champion. And I'm telling you, someone that's been in that position, a man that's had a rematch against Luke Rockhold, and the rematch was for the belt. This is a massive opportunity because, yeah, you want to be the champ, but also you want to get back one over the guy that beat you. So why the hell is he not invested? Well, you might have seen it. He did a podcast recently and he was talking about a time after UFC 300 and he's sitting in a Rolls-Royce Phantom and he pulls up alongside Dana White and Hunter Campbell, and apparently they were just in a regular BMW. I call #1 bullshit on that, brother.
This is #1 bullshit.
Because Dana and Hunter, they're not rolling around in a 3 Series BMW. Whatever BMW it was, I guarantee it was pimped out to the max, right? So anyway, they were like, what's going on? Why are you in a Phantom? And then he went on to elaborate, saying that basically he comes from a wealthy family and good for him. His father was in the construction business, apparently really successful. They've got a helicopter, they've got yachts, they've got private jets, they've got a hotel, you name it, they've got it. The man is minted, okay? He's loaded, right? And that is an unusual story because most of the time, fighters don't come from much and they have to scratch and claw and work their way up and they get pissed off with having nothing and they want to change that and they got to do it with their fists. But Arman Tsarukyan's a little different. We always say fighters aren't born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Well, this guy can. And we know the quote from Marvin Hagler, the famous one where when you're sleeping in silk sheets, you don't want to get out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning and go for a jog. And that is true. When fighters get comfortable, they get lazy. When fighters get civilized, they're not as good. And Arman Tsarukyan is going against the grain because he's a man that clearly comes from a very privileged family, a very successful and wealthy family. And God bless him, good for him. But the man chose the path of a fighter, right? When he made his UFC debut, I think he was about 22. Now he's about 28.
I was 22 years old.
So he's bigger, he's stronger, he's more technical, he's got more experience. He's won 10 out of his last 11. Of course, the one loss was to Mateusz Gamrot, which was one of the best displays of grappling you'll ever see in mixed martial arts. Highly technical stuff, ridiculous pace, and he came up short on the judges' scorecard. To be honest, it could have gone either way. He's beating people like Joel Alvarez. That's a tremendous win. He finished him in the second round. Joel Alvarez is finishing everybody. Since then, that loss to Matalji's on a 4-fight win streak, knocked out Joaquim Silva, knocked out Beneil Dariush, and beat Charles Oliveira by a split decision at UFC 300. So he's out there saying that he's not fully invested. So I'll get to the point of the video now. Is that an insurance policy? Is it an insurance policy? Is that a little bit of subconscious doubt coming through? I don't know if it is. I'm not saying that it is. It's just a conversation because you don't talk like that a week out from a title fight. Clearly, he's a talented fighter. 22 wins, 3 losses, 9 knockouts, 5 submissions. And the man's pushing himself to the limit. He's out there training in the mountains of Russia. He's not an American top team. To be honest, that doesn't concern me at all. The skill level that he has right now, that's who he is. That's who he's going to be. Of course, you can always improve, but right now it's about getting in the best shape of your life. He's got a dedicated team surrounding him up there, and he's doing all the right things, okay? He's got people replicating Islam Makhachev. He's sitting in the sauna. He's running up mountains. He's working with a striking coach. He's doing everything he can, okay? But mentally, he says that he's not invested in this fight. Well, we know that Islam Makhachev is invested. That's an absolute fact, okay? Islam Makhachev eats, sleeps, lives, breathes, consumes it. That's all it is, okay? Up there in Makhachkala, that little village in Dagestan where they're producing champions left, right, and center. Umar Nurmagomedov, Saeed Nurmagomedov, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev. The list goes on. They are obsessed when it comes to mixed martial arts. They push themselves to the limit. And of course, they are Muslims as well. So they're not out partying. They're not falling out of nightclubs. They're not getting drunk. They're not taking days off because they're hungover.
Are you intoxicated?
No, they're training. They're living and breathing it 24/7. And if you're going into a fight with somebody like that, you better be invested. You better be 100% committed. Now, of course, he's probably talking about, because he comes from a wealthy family, he doesn't need the money like a lot of other people. But this isn't a game that you play. This is not a sport that you pick up, you put down, and you mess around with. No, if you do that, if you have that attitude, that is when people get hurt. I'm not saying Arman's going to get hurt. I'm not even saying that he's going to lose this fight. I'm just saying, does it show a potential weakness going up against Islam? You got to remember, he's already beaten him once. He was a young man when that happened, of course. But is he thinking psychologically, look at this guy, look what he's gone on to do. Look at him beating all these great fighters, Dustin Poirier and etc., right? Look at the way he knocked out Alexander Volkanovski, right? Maybe that's creeping in. And these are normal, rational thoughts that fighters have. Of course, you look at your opponent and you think, geez, this is not going to be easy, okay? But the fact that he's out there saying, I'm not fully invested in this, that's concerning. And I'm just saying, that sounds like he's paving the way for an excuse. Maybe he's giving an insurance policy because his ego will deal with it better then by saying, well, so what? I did great. I did amazing. I got a title fight and yeah, I came up short. But I'm not fully invested in this. This isn't my life. I don't need this the way that some other fighters do, okay? I'm just asking. I'm not saying that that is the case. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Am I misinterpreting it? Because the reality is, I think he is invested. You don't beat people like Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush, and have the success that he has unless you are invested, unless he is just that good, right? And if he isn't invested and he's just that good, my God, how good could he be if he really was invested? The reality is, I think Arman Tsarukyan is probably bit of a slicker or definitely quicker when it comes to the striking than Islam Makhachev. The way that he throws his kicks are phenomenal. The wrestling, we've seen that time and time again. The jiu-jitsu is very good as well. It's good enough to not get submitted by Charles Oliveira, that's for sure. Fair enough. Chandler didn't get submitted either. You can just shut it down. Neither did Paul Felder. But still, the jiu-jitsu is good. The wrestling's phenomenal. The striking's very slick. The conditioning is there. But the mind is the most important weapon. And he's publicly saying that he's not fully invested. What do you think? Am I making a big deal out of nothing? Or is this a cause for concern? Maybe he's just talking shit. Maybe he's just trying to mess with Islam Makhachev. Maybe he's trying to get into his head and play some kind of mind games. Maybe he's trying to get Islam to rest on his laurels a little bit. Well, good luck doing that anyway, because you know Khabib Nurmagomedov is pushing him to his absolute limit. They'll be training hard as hell leading up to fight day. Simple as that. No days off, circuits for days, burpees galore, jumping jacks, squats, push-ups, you name it, they're doing it. Short tank rounds right up until the final day, because that's how they train. And you know what? That's kind of how you should train. I know in this common era, everyone's talking about training smart. Yeah, okay, you want to train smart. You don't want to get hurt. You don't want to get injured. You don't want to overtrain. There is no substitute for hard work. All of these scientists and these nutritionists and these people coming in that have never thrown a punch in their life, by the way, saying, slow it down. We got to have different level days. We got to have green, amber, and red level days. On the red level days, you go hard. On the green, you kind of take it easy, okay? No, you got to go hard. You got to push yourself to the absolute limit, because when you get tired in a fight, you are FUCK'd. Simple as that. Still, what do you think? I'm rambling here. Arman Tsarukyan is not fully invested. Does he really mean that? Do you think he is invested? Is he trying to play a little psychological mind game on Islam Makhachev? Would that even work? I say no. I think he is invested, right? But I think there might be a potential of just a little bit of subconscious doubt creeping in, which, by the way, is normal. By the way, we need that, because that will give you the adrenaline, and the adrenaline will make you perform even better. Anyway, I've rambled on for a long time. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please, as I always say, subscribe and ring the bell. Just subscribe and leave a comment. Don't worry about ringing the bell. I've never rung a bell in my life. Anyway, you guys take care. All the best.